And welcome back to another episode of Zap Chat. I'm your host, Zach Probst. Welcome to Season 2 of my podcast. And it took me a very, very long time to actually get started for my brand new season because I had a lot of setbacks here and there because of everything and what's been happening lately. So today I am very happy to move on and start something new and fresh. And yes, I have designed a new logo design. It took me roughly about a month or so to get everything done and going. So I'm really happy how it turned out, and I hope you guys will like the new logo as well. And there'll be some altering changes here and there, but I was just in a rush trying to get it up and going so I can move on and do something else. So here's what's going on today. We're going to be discussing an anime review for you guys, but before I tell you that, I want to tell you what's been going on for me lately. So I have some notes here to help me to keep me track. Let's see here. This past few months has been very rough for me and for everyone else living in the world right now. Let's see. Well, I'll start in the beginning. About a few months ago, I was pretty much in the rough side of, with the changes going on at my day job. Since my dad left working with me, I've just been working by myself doing kitchen work. And for those of you who don't know, I work at a restaurant, or I used to be. And sadly, the restaurant is no longer around. What happened was there's going to be some changes going on, and I don't want to go into too far of the details, but basically there were going to be some changes for the next few months, and with that change affected my dad. My dad doesn't want to be around, so let's say if your best friend is no longer going to be at the work, then there's no longer in need of being at the restaurant anymore, so he decides to go someplace else. And for me, I'm happy for my dad that he is moved on and to find a new job. But for me, I wanted to stay a little bit longer just to see what happens. And for about, let's say, this happened in mid-January. My dad has finished his last day of working, and then comes to the first day of me working by myself, working at the restaurant. So I'm basically just doing like every morning routine. I come in early morning, like around 5:30 at best, or as early as I can to catch the bus to work. And so I would come in, do my morning prep, getting everything made and going, and start, let's say, chopping romaine and some slicing off the fats of the meats and get it all chopped and sliced and get it marinated. That way, all that would be ready, so the frontliners will have it all prepped and ready to go to get it cooking and serve for the customers. So I've been doing that for the past few months. But for about, I'd say about a month or so, I was dealing with my a partner or assistants to help me get prep finished. But it didn't really work out as well because we've been getting prep done super, super early, and I've just not been getting the hours I needed. So time went by. They had to make some changes again. They decided to have me kitchen work by myself, and that made me happy because I was relieved that I can handle this work by myself depending on the prep. Certain prep things were difficult for me to do because some certain preps and for getting work done, it requires partners to work together to get certain things done. But with my dad leaving work, they had to re-coordinate of how everything works in the kitchen. So it was been pretty difficult. But my day job has been really rough on the edges. For instance, to do more podcast episodes for you guys, I really couldn't focus of doing any of that lately because of my daily routine has been altered a bit. So I've been coming home a lot later than usual. Instead of coming home like around, coming home with my dad, like right, so like 1 or 2, I just been coming home a lot later. Like, let's see, I've been on Tuesdays and Fridays. I've been getting home at work about, was it like 3 to 4 p.m. around there. And then on Saturdays, since bus routines are a lot different than weekdays, I can't catch the bus earlier. I have to catch it later in the day. So I won't able to make it work until after 8 in the morning. So Saturdays really sucks for me to get work done because I'd rather come in at 5 in the morning and get everything done. But, it is what it is, and I had to deal with it. But for getting home on Saturday, I don't usually get home till like roughly like between 4 to 6 p.m., which is uh, not something I'm used to because I don't like being out that late to get home from work, especially trying to catch the bus. So, yeah, just getting home that late, just, yeah, it's not my favorite thing to do. I don't like getting home in the middle of the dark. I really don't. I'm just not really a fan. I'd rather get to work early morning when it's still dark outside than rather coming home at night. Not like in a bad way, but mostly concerns of what could happen. Um, and so dealing with that for the past like a couple of months or so, it's just been kind of rough on the edges. Since I don't have a car, I have to take the bus, and so I have to spend the money for for bus passes and all that. And so as time goes by, I think in about March on my birthday week, what happened was they announced that they're going to close down the restaurant for good on my birthday, and that was not fun. So that happened about in mid March. Basically, the announcement happened that they're closing the restaurant business on my freaking birthday. And I really wanted my birthday to be better than last year. Last year ended up pretty bad, and I don't want to go through that, but basically, a friend of mine that I've known for a long time kind of broke up our friendship. So what happened is I was supposed to take a day off of my birthday, and when that happened, they announcing they're closing the restaurant. So I end up not coming into work on Saturday because I requested a day off. And then when that happened, I just, happened to lost my job on the day. So I remember I came in on Monday to grab my paycheck and my last tip, and trying to deposit in the bank, and they were trying to get rid of all the food that they have at the restaurant because we don't want to go it bad or dump it all in the garbage and all that. So a bunch of the employees were trying to grab because we don't want to waste any food at all. So that would be pretty bummed and sad. And plus, it's just a waste and all. So it's necessary to let the employees take what they need to take the food back home because of what's been happening right now. This happened. So this incident about happened as of this recording about a month ago, and let's say, how do I feel about losing a job? Well, to be honest, I wasn't really sad. I wasn't crying. I wasn't really, you know, frustrated. Really, I've just my first thought about closing the restaurant. I was confused. As time goes by, I later realized that we're in a very, very difficult situation on everyone's lives. And I don't like talking about the whole, sickness that's been happening lately because I don't want to get into through that. Basically, it's just been really, really bad for everyone. I would say we just wasn't. Well, let's see. I would say that the we somehow knew that the restaurant wasn't gonna last a bit longer. Honestly, I'm not really bummed in any way. I'm sure a lot of the coworkers are really sad and bummed of closing down the business for good. As for me, um I just wasn't feeling the same page as everyone else, and I didn't really want to out. I don't want to be at this employee like party thing. The owners were wanting to have like a private party to say their goodbyes to closing down the business. For me, I was going through my birthday weekend, and I did not think it was necessary for me to be in that position because I'm already bummed as it is when that happened. So I just was, uh, well, basically, I did not want to go into the party and have a couple of drinks with my friends and just, feeling crying and miserable and all that. I didn't want that to happen. So I just would rather be home alone and just processing of what's been happening because we're all just kind of feeling lost and confusion and all that. And uh, I'm not really, again, I'm not bummed in any way. Yes, I'm sad that the restaurant is gone, but at the same time, I was actually planning only to stay for about another year at least to work at a restaurant biz. In some way, I'm okay with leaving the restaurant. I'm okay with that. I have made some progress of in my personal life. Right now, I am starting up on my online class that I'm focusing on a voice acting career. That's why I want to do podcasting work for you guys because I also want to do my voice acting work at the same time. So if you notice, I post something on a video, let's say like a week or two now. I posted a video of my recording of introducing my voice, and that was just a little tease of what voice talent still I have right now. And it's kind of a little embarrassing to say, but I'm currently editing right now, and also editing this episode you're listening to right now, and I will be editing the second part of my introducing my voice. And I was gonna do part three like a day or two ago before I was doing this, but I just didn't had the energy and the excitement, or the my brain process just was filling up with too many options in my head. But mostly because of I kept hearing news, like really bad news has been happening in the world lately, and that loses my confidence of focusing doing work. That was really difficult for me to do the recording of introducing my voice. So I didn't feel like doing that recording. As I was recording, I was like, okay, yeah, this is me, my voice, and with this, and that, this, that. I was mumbling because my brain was just not active at all. But today I'm kind of active because I've just been, well, for one, I'm focusing on recording this right now, and second, I just been feeling active. It's just been really feeling active of what I wanted to do, and I didn't originally. I didn't really want to record this today for you guys because of the. Right now, I'm recording until like 1:30 a.m. So pretty late at this hour. But I feel like, well, you know what? I should probably just go ahead and record it now and not have to worry about it tomorrow. And uh, I will be reviewing another anime coming up. I just watched an anime movie that I just watched right before I did this podcast, and I gotta tell you, you're gonna like this one a lot. This is well, I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys, but I would say this is an anime short film that I just recently watched, and it was really really good. I was really like, wow, this is actually a decent anime short film. I was really surprised, and there was just so much going on in just that little tiny episode. It could have been like an hour and a half long short, but no, it was only 50 minutes. It was short, and it was like, no, all right, that's not bad at all. But anyways, um, listen to me mumbling right now. But that's going to be the next episode. I would do a review, but that's not what we're going to be talking about today. Today, we're going to be discussing an anime show that you think I'm going to tell you right now, don't you? I gotcha. Um, yeah, I'm just teasing you guys. So you're probably wondering, going, well, why can't you just reviewing like other anime shows? Like, well, believe me, I've been really wanting to, but with everything that's been happening with my the job that I used to work and how much it's been eating up my daily life hours and my energy was just exhaustion. Every time I go home from work, I was tired. I just want to sit on my couch watching movies, animes, playing video games all day long, and not, doing any recordings. I was just exhausted. I was just a mess. So I just was not in the mood of, you know, uh, doing anything. That's like uh, personal stuff I wanted to do. But with this whole quarantine that's been happening this past month, I figured, well, you know what? Since I got all the free time, I might as well just use this what I can to, be in a couch potato all day and watch so many movies. And boy, did I. I have watched so many movies and a couple of anime shows, and I've been playing video games. I'm even playing a game called Shenmue, which they've been re-released on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. So they re-released Shenmue 1 and 2 uh, for uh, for like I think it was like an anniversary thing, I think. And I think for that they were also announcing that the third game of Shenmue has been announced, and they wanted to re-release 1 and 2 so that way some younger viewers can play along and playing the third one. Sadly, well, on the plus side and the bad side, I've beaten the first Shenmue, and I'm currently playing the second part, but it's a bit of a struggle because I'm just in a rush to get pushing the story to get it going so I can play the third game. It's a bit of a stretch because there's a lot going on in Shenmue 2, and they made it more complex than the first one. The first one was like really easy and surprisingly fun. The first one was a bit, slow, but not in a bad way. It was really enjoyable. It was a good way to start of the franchise. Then when the second one came out, there's a lot going on and a lot more activities. So definitely something to keep it busy. But I may have to go back in and play Shenmue 2 because well, for starters, I really want to play the third one badly. But just got to be patient. I can always just watch some YouTube video and just watch it from there. I could always do that, but, well, I didn't want it to cheat that far. But if there's a time I have to get frustrated, then maybe, just maybe. But who knows? Um, what else is happening? Oh, when I stopped playing Shenmue 2, I decided to replay a Zelda game, which is Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've beaten the game like months ago. I've beaten the game like in October and finished it like in a month. But then I decided to replay it, and I've beaten it in about, I'd say, like a week or two or something like that. It sucks about quarantine because you can't remember how long you've been playing exactly. You forget how long, how many days you've been playing it. So that can happen. But I have played Zelda, and I've beaten it, and now I'm just, um, you know, I'm trying to think of what to do next, and so the online class of voice acting is something to keep me busy. I just been trying to figure out, okay, now how can I do that? And so I'd say like, okay, I got the online class, I got all the tools I have here, but what's the best way to get me motivated to get me started to practice every day? And I believe I have an idea for it, which is reading books out loud and doing your voices. That is very important. So I'm going to be doing that. Well, not right now though, because it's late. But I will be starting tomorrow and use my voice to keep me active. Just have to make sure I drink liquid and tea, and no coffee, no energy drinks or anything like that. Just good plain water and good flavored tea, and with a touch of honey and lemon juice just to kick it up a bit. So that's what's been happening lately. I'm pretty certain there's a few questions you're going to ask me. Like, for instance, what anime shows am I watching right now? Well, I'm still currently watching My Hero Academia, but I'm just been waiting patiently for an English dub to pop up available on the Funimation app. And sadly, they've not posted any new ones lately because of what's been happening. But I have watched other shows. Let's see here. I have watched. I've watched season 3 of Castlevania. That was a really, really good show. I was just really blown away of the story direction they were going for, and it was so much going on. It was way better than the previous season. The first season started out as introducing the characters, and the second one just kind of started to mess around with what the story's gonna be like and later on, and like the third one was going to be focusing like this big event. That's what's been going on, and boy, I love everything of season 3, and I can't wait for the next one to come out, and hopefully next year, hopefully maybe two, but we'll see what happens. I would like to see the new season sometime in Halloween. Maybe not this year of Halloween, but I'm pretty certain next year would happen, and I would like to see it by Halloween. I think that would be a perfect time to watch Castlevania. It has that very darky, like darky, a very dark and disturbing and violent, and all the blood action, and just lots of twisted things going on. So I'm just excited for the next one to come out. So we'll just have to wait patiently. I'm Let's see. I am currently watching an anime show called The Future Diary, and I was like, "Wow, this anime show is amazing." I'm in episode like 8 or 9 right now, and it's really good. I was already like the whole past few episodes. I'm just like really into it. You really don't know, like so far, you really don't know who to trust, and you're trying to do something good, but it always ends up bad, and you think this person is going to do good in some way, but ends up being an evil little bastard. So it was just like, what the hell is this show? I was just like in love with this show. This is one of those anime shows that I'm just like really drawn into the characters. There are certain anime shows that if they make characters that really draws your attention, then I can really get into the story. But it needs to have that flow in some way. So for the characters of the Future Diary, I was really into it. I really want to know what's going to happen. I really want to know, would they be okay later on in the season? Who knows? I'm only on episode 8 right now, and so I'm just like, man, there's just a lot going on. So you really don't know who to trust exactly, because it's still a mystery of each of those characters, and I can't remember the name of the characters, but yeah. But man, I'm really into The Future Diary a lot. It's a really good show. I should have watched it earlier when I had the chance, but just been busy watching other shows. But man, it is a really, really good show. I'm really into it. And so let's see here. Check my notes and see if I miss anything else. Ah, about the podcast episodes. I did record 2 episodes. It was one was about the episode about Robotech. I really wanted to discuss about Robotech for you guys, and unfortunately, the audio had a bit of a backlash. The audio sounds a bit like scratchy, like a really bad like audio sound, like one of those like 40s or 50s radio boxes. So it sounded pretty rough. And I really wanted uh, uh, to share with you guys about this podcast episode from like from months ago, but the audio is really bad. And I think it's still okay that I can post it up for you guys, maybe someday. But it was recorded back in November or December, and it wasn't that bad of an episode. But again, the audio was pretty bad shape, and I don't know how I can fix it because it's what's recorded. It's been recorded, and I don't know exactly how to modify it to get it cleaned up and all that. But yeah, I don't really know how that would work. I would have to mess around with the app of the that I'm using right now to record this podcast. But maybe someday in the future I will. And I was going to have the final episode, like the sixth one, to be recorded as a two-parter episode. I was going to have one part to be talking about Jackie Chan, like the whole episode talking about Jackie Chan, because I had written so many facts and ideas to get me fresh in my head, and I had so many discussions about Jackie Chan because I'm such a huge fan. And the second part was talking about uh, the review of an anime movie that I watched a while back. The anime title is called A Silent Voice, and it was about a story about bullies, but more of like a in the Japan era of what they dealt with kids being bullied at their school. And that whole episode was going to take like about an hour or so of discussing about reviewing about the anime movie, and then I would talk about my struggles of my younger days of how I was bullied every day at school. And unfortunately, the audio has also been scratched a lot. Didn't have a chance to record about the Jackie Chan part. The anime review and my story about my depression of me being bullied every day. That one has also been scratched. It still sounds okay, but I really wanted to fix it somehow and to adjust it. But again, I don't know how to fix that part, so it may take time. Maybe someday I'll mess around with the audio and all that, but who knows? But maybe I'll post it someday, but right now it's just not a great time for everybody. So I'm going to put that one on hold for you guys. And maybe someday, like later in the fall, I'll decide to post it up for you guys to listen. Because I do think you guys deserve to listen what I have to say about my struggles in my younger days, and wanted to share it with you guys. But right now, we need a lighten up mood in today's world right now. So we need some like good news for everybody. No more bad news for everyone. We deserve something good for everyone. I will do my best for you guys to be entertained as much as possible, and we're all going to be in this together, no matter what. We're all going to be working together, and things will get better. It won't be like quick and easy things back to normal. I highly doubt it. It will take time. Just have to take it step by step by step by step. It will take time. I've been through this before by taking time of putting everything back together. I've been through this. It's not easy, but it will work. Believe that. So, to lighten up the mood, I got an anime review for you guys to be entertained. And that anime review of today's topic is Fooly Cooly, Seasons 2 and 3. Now, this one I had to rewatch some of the episode or two to refresh my memory and all that. And this is actually a review that I wanted to share with you guys. We're going to discuss just a little bit of the story plot of seasons 2 and 3. So, season 2 takes place after Haruhara Haruko, I hope I pronounced that right, failed attempt to contain the Atomsic, I hope I pronounced that right, from the first season. And she went to go after it to continue her journey. and I was expecting a young boy named Naota from the 12-year-old boy from the first season. I was really expecting for him to return, but nope, he's not either of the seasons 2 or 3. Sadly, this is just a whole new characters, whole new story that they're introducing, so it's completely new and fresh. Um, so this new story about Haruko came back years later in a place called Mabes, and is now targeting a 14-year-old girl, Hitomi Hibajiri. She's kind of a really kind of a soft, quiet voice person, and she just kind of looked like she's lonely, and now she wears these headphones, kind of like blocking really, you know, like heavy sound in some way, or just like listening tunes. But it's some sort of the machine into controlling her head and all that. It's a really, again, it's one of those wacky anime shows that you just have to accept it and try to process going like what's going on here and all that. So the focus is about her and their love interest named Koide. Koide is like at school he's kind of a bit of a maybe like a jerk or a jockey or some way, but in his personal life he's just mostly tried to be tough, tried to fit in, just doing something like you know just trying to be good. Like he really wants to be strong, just to be better for himself. It really kind of let's see. It's somehow season 2 of Fooly Cooly. They really introduced the characters the right way. Like it just builds. Like first you have this character, then they show this one, then they show 2 more, and then more as it goes on, and it really builds. And then later on, the story starts building. So it has this nice flow of introducing the characters, a lot like when I was describing the Future Diary. As long as the characters are still really drawn, then you want to know what's going to happen, because there's just there's so much going on. You just have to you want to know more. So it's such a process to what's been going on. The love interest, Koide, and then there another character that's brand new named Jinyu Julia, or Julia Jinlu. They described her as a more stoic offshoot of Haruko. So she's basically like Haruko, only a more a serious tone than the wackier tone of Haruko. Overall, season 2 is a really great sequel of the first one. I really, really like the story that they were going for. The story element has a similarity of the first season, and I really, really like really trying to keep it in the same page in some way, so that the energy is very similar of the first season. So I think that was like a great way to watch this one, and it's a bit crazier than the first one. If you look closely, the first season was really good and it was really fascinating. Then the second one, it was just like it kind of went deeper in some way. Like there was something very mysterious going on, and you want to find answers. Season 2 really intrigued me in some way, and I really like it a lot. And then season 3, we have, the season 2 and 3, they call it, season 2 call it progressive, and season 3 they call it alternative. Now, unfortunately, alternative is my least favorite, sadly. Basically, Haruko continues and goes after a high school student named Kana Komoto and her friends. And basically, it's just like Karuto or Ko, or Kana. I'll just say Kana. Kana is mostly just struggling to figuring out what to do in her life, but she doesn't really have any really, and Haruko is kind like she doesn't really have a whole lot going on in this season, and I don't know, somehow season 3 was kind of really slow, and the characters were intriguing, but the story didn't really capture of what's been going on. It's like watching it was like watching a really boring episode of Stranger Things. That's how kind of a bad it was. Not to disrespect Stranger Things, but there were some episodes of Fooly Cooly of alternative. It just felt like, yeah, I'm not really certain about this. I don't know about uh, this third season very much, but they're saying that the third one is actually the final season. At least I think so, but I don't know. Um, Season 3 ended a possible another season maybe, but I don't know. They're saying it's the last season, but when I saw the last episode, it felt like um, there is going to be more later on. But who knows? I don't really know if the third season really ended. Really, they're saying it is, but I don't think so. It looked like there is something going on of the last episode. Uh, but yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. Now, I must say that the first season is by far the best one of all, and the second one is actually better than the third. So I would say that the second season started very strong to bring back the show, but the third one kind of ended a bit of a lack of excitement of the story, but the characters are fascinating. But yeah, it was a bit of a rough stretch. Yeah, I think season 2 had more like energy story. So the energy of the excitement was very similar to the first one. Oh, and some of the characters, it I can feel there's some like one of the characters I felt that I can be related of some of those characters. I think maybe like if I had to pick, I would have to relate to Hidomi from the second season of the lead character. I think I would be related to her, um, of like on her daily school life. I'm 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 kind of a I'm like in the I'm trying to process a lot in my head. I feel related to Hidomi because um, she's really quiet at school. I'm also pretty quiet at school. She's really alone of her school. She doesn't have much friends. But for me, I kind of have friends, but a lot of them just kind of walked away and never spoke to me again. There's been a lot of those. I only have about a handful of people that I still try to keep in touch with here and there, but a lot of them just, you know, moved on and doing something else with their lives. In some way, I felt related to Hidomi, um, of this character, so that's one thing I'm very related to. Thinking back of the show, there was this band called the Pillows. The Pillows has been huge of the whole show of Fooly Cooly. I was really happy that they brought back the band The Pillows that they used for the first season, and now that they have them back for season 2 and 3, and I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. I I actually own a soundtrack from the first season, and I had to buy it on. I know I did not download it digitally, silly goose. I actually bought the CD, like physical copy, because buying anime CDs are actually really hard to find now. And getting that one, I got pretty lucky. It took me about like a year or two to actually get my hands on that CD copy, and I finally got it, and I listened to it, and I'm just jamming it, just bouncing my head up and down a lot lately, and just going like, oh man, such a good band, and I loved it all the way through. And I even listened to their the Fooly Cooly seasons 2 and 3, and I love the songs that they did. I loved it all the way through. Now, sadly, I thought they would have the physical copy, but here's some good news and bad news. The good news is that they released it on a record. Those big round shape of look like a CD, but like quadruple the amount. Basically, they just released it as a record. The bad news is, if you do not have a record player, you can only get that, or you can download it digitally. No CD purchase whatsoever. The CD doesn't exist. You can only get a record or a digital download. So I was able to listen to the whole album of the new progressive alternative Fooly Cooly CD, or I mean the music, and I listened to it all the way through. I was busy doing some drawing on my computer while listening to the album, and I loved it. I think that's about it, really, about discussing about Fooly Cooly. Now, do I recommend to either just watch or purchase? Like, watch it or buy it? Depends on if you're a really big fan of Fooly Cooly. I would say go buy it. They just released it on Blu-ray. It was like January, February. I think it was February that they released it. You can buy it on Blu-ray right now, and it costs about roughly $20 or something like that. And you get to watch all the episodes available. There's some bonus features, a little bit here and there, just like little snippets. They're not like really long and all that. And I would say, me personally, buy Fooly Cooly seasons 2 and 3, progressive and alternative. This is definitely a keeper for me. I would definitely recommend buying it for sure, and especially the first season. The first season would always be close to my childhood. I remember thinking back. The first time I watched Fooly Cooly was years ago. This was when Adult Swim channel was brand new on late night Cartoon Network. I was really like confused and like, why is it called Adult Swim? And then I realized, oh, it's a cartoon show for adults. Okay. And like on Saturdays they would have late night anime shows, and they would play shows like Cowboy Bebop, Inuyasha, Bleach. I think they did Naruto. If I'm right, they would sometimes do Naruto at the time. Fooly Cooly was a big one. There's some other shows that they aired as well. Lupin the Third, which I'm a huge fan of. They would have Lupin the Third there, and I know there was more to it as well, but this was a long, long time ago. And Fooly Cooly was I would say one of the anime shows that made a huge impact of becoming a much bigger anime fan than I was before. And so I would say Adult Swim has made a huge influence on airing some Japanese anime shows that I've always wanted to watch more as a kid, and Fooly Cooly was one of them, and Cowboy Bebop was another one of the shows that I became a fan. And when I first watched Fooly Cooly, I was really drawn to the animation. I didn't care much of the whole story, or didn't care of the characters at the time because I was young, but somehow, just by watching the first episode, just somehow watching the two kids just hanging out underneath the bridge, I was just like, that kind of looks like, that little boy kind of reminds me of myself, just a little bit. And just by watching it, let's see, I think it was like 2000, oh gosh, what was it, like 2001, 2002? And the boy was actually 12 years old, and I thought about it, and I was like, oh man, I'm actually, because we're both the same age, and we're just kind of in that same life in some way. I think that's why it got me the connection to it. It was just the show, I was like roughly about 10 or 11 years old, and the boy was like close to 12. So I just somehow was, I had feelings for this kid. I really had feelings. I was really drawn to the show. I remember hating, I remember hating missing just one episode. I was afraid to missing a story. Like I was really, really worried, going like, "What's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next?" I was really concerned of missing one episode because we did not have DVR recording at that time. So I have to make sure I stay up like at midnight and find the episode Fooly Cooly when it starts and make sure you stay up late and watch it. That's what we had at the time, and man, I gotta say, that show was just incredible. I loved it. I think there'd be certain anime shows that I don't know. I think the part about you don't care about the story, you don't care about the characters, but somehow just by watching the first episode of that whole scene, I was just, man, I was really drawn. I was really, really drawn, and it made me become a much bigger anime fan than before. Fooly Cooly was one of them. Cowboy Bebop was another. So it made me become a much bigger anime fan more than ever. And I'm so glad I became an anime fan. And boy, I got collections. I'm really happy about it very much. Well, now I hate to tell you guys, that is the end of our show. And I'm sorry to break it down short with you guys, but that is all the topic I have. I talked about what's been going on from my personal life, and I talked to you about the anime show that we discussed on the review. So I'm really happy at how things all turned out. And I promise you I will keep going to my podcast episodes. I promise you that. But right now, since I'm home all day, I'm not going anywhere. I promise you I will improve later in the future, and I'm really, really excited to do more. And I'm especially excited to do my next anime topic for my next one. And it's sometimes hard for me to process in thinking of, of the anime show, because like the more episodes there is, the harder it is for me to process it all in my head. It's kind of a pain in some way. But the next one is going to be much easier since this is like an animated short film. So this would be super, super easy to discuss with you guys. Please be safe out there, and I really hope things will get better in the future. I promise you that it will get better. And please be happy. If you want to feel happy, then watch an anime show or watch any movies you want to watch, and read some comic books too, and read some Japanese manga books. It's a good time to be doing that kind of stuff. Well, guys, thank you for listening to my podcast channel. This is the end of the show, and it's already about an hour now of my recording. So thank you for listening to my episode. It really means a lot to me. Be sure to hit down subscribe or press the like button. It will really help me to keep me motivated to keep my show going. So please do that for me, and I promise you I will post more episodes. But be sure to subscribe, be sure to like the comment, and I promise you I will keep moving forward the things I want to do the most. So again, thank you for listening. I'm Zach Probst. This is Zap Chat. Thank you for listening. Good night.